Hear nothing there. What's up? What's up? It is live on the marriage talk tonight. I know it's a little bit later than usual, but we will be discussing marriage therapy. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you do it? Do you don't? What do you think? Hop on. It's too live. Let's get it.
We don't own the rights to this music. Happy Wednesday, guys. Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday. I know it's kind of late, but we wanted to get this topic in. Marriage therapy. Is it good or not?
All that.
Yes. Is it good or not? Marriage therapy, guys. That's what the topic is tonight. So if you been up in debate with
This music.
yeah, we don't own the rights, but if you've been up in debate about therapy in your marriage, this is a good call to get on. What you think? Let's see. Let's just slow it up. Yeah.
Where y'all chiming in from? What's up? What's up? Where y'all calling in from? We got the mini host in the background.
There we
He
go.
was asleep, but I don't know what happened. You gotta put it on this one.
Okay. I'm good. Where's the other one?
X down, yeah, X down.
This?
Yeah, X down. And down there.
Okay. There we go.
That's another one. Right there. Let's get it, let's go. We ready.
All right. So go ahead and get this started.
We don't own the rights to this music. We do not own the rights to this music. We don't own the rights to none of this music, boy. Marriage talk, let's go.
So guys, today is Wednesday. What time is it? It is a little bit.
Let's get it, let's go.
10.
Let's get it, let's go. We got a little Barker that's about to get on my nerves. Brother Barker in the building.
Yes. Marriage.
Got the whole stroller up in the bedroom.
Yes. Gotta rock him to
Something.
stroller sleep. Again, we don't own the rights to this music, guys. We're gonna make this real good and simple and quick for y'all tonight to get this in there.
That's what he said. Marriage talk. What's up? What's up? We're gonna be talking. This is a good well, you're falling asleep and then you're mad. What you doing? This is a great topic. I actually been thinking about it a little bit. So I said, you know what, let's talk about it. I know it's a little bit later, but maybe we get the late folks on, the marriage couples that normally can't get on, that normally miss us. You might be at work, you might be doing stuff with the kiddos. Well, this is a great topic.
The late night session.
Late night, and then after this, hopefully, you know, you do the VIP stuff, right?
Here she go with the VIP.
You know,
Yeah.
VIP.
So
Go ahead, let's talk.
I actually got into this conversation because what I noticed that
What was it that you said about it? Remember, how do we bring it?
we brought this conversation. We was talking about just marriage therapy and marriage counseling because of the fact that we do have
Crazy friends.
and we do have, you know, we have our marriage therapist.
Your family counselor,
Yeah.
marriage therapy,
Yes.
all that stuff.
All that and above, right?
Oh, no, we didn't get into because of that. Because of a situation, and you were like, even if it's just, you said there should be a contract where it says the therapy should be like a couple years or
Yes.
something, because they could be faking the funk.
Yeah, so I was talking about, you know, as far as going to therapy, somebody could be faking the funk for the first 6 months of therapy. And then do you stop at therapy after those 6 months because you think everything is good, or you resolve the issue? But go ahead.
Sunshine. Well, as a therapist myself,
Mhm.
I really cannot, and this is like all jokes aside, no offense to people if you might not like this comment, but I cannot stand the client that comes to me when their child or partner or whatever is having difficulties, issues, situations. And then as soon as they have a good week, or maybe a good 2 weeks, they're MIA. They canceled the appointment, they reschedule, I don't hear from them, and then boom, here goes a month later. Miss Ayala, Miss Barker, can we set up an appointment? So-and-so's been acting up again. And I'm like, yeah, because you don't cut me off for 2 weeks because they did good 1 week. So I had to explain to, this is like in a parent family situation. I had to explain to the mom, like, even if they're doing good, let's continue to work on the therapy because we can work on praising and we can also work on the behaviors of the rewards and you know, all that stuff and continue that good stuff.
Which I think that's great that you said that because that should be the same
Like a
example.
lipstick? It's
Yes,
cute.
it's popping. That should
Oh,
be the
look
same
at it.
thing that should be the same thing that goes on in your marriage, right? Just because you know you had a hiccup and said, "Oh, we need to go see therapy," or something bad happened in your marriage, you want to go see therapists for that one
It
session.
happens to everyone too, you know?
Yeah, you go see them for that one session, but it should be a continuous session that you always see them all the time,
Even
right?
if it's honestly bi-weekly or monthly.
And that's whether the relationship is doing good or bad, correct?
Right, because think about it. Are you gonna only go for once a month to discuss in 1 hour a whole month
Right.
scenarios? No, you're gonna probably discuss one incident or something you didn't like, or something that
Mhm.
was uncomfortable, versus if it's bi-weekly. Now I've had a situation where in marriage, I've had you know, some friends, they mentioned like, what if it's not covered by insurance? And this just came to mind, and it's out of pocket, you know, because nowadays, you know, you have therapists that are charging 200, 300 an hour. You know, what do you do when they're paying out of pocket? Um, and then they're, you know, what's up?
Well, I feel that, you know, with that case, that's still investing. I look at it as that's investing into your marriage. If that's something that you want to hold on to. You know,
Mhm.
I always put this out here. This one analogy I said, you know, I told maybe they should change the way about how much it costs to get married to how much it costs to get divorced, right?
Right.
Why don't you make it $600 or $1,000 to get married with the married license and
Mhm.
$25 for the divorce? Cause see,
Mhm.
then you know people be laying that little $25 down like no problem, like all right, I'll see you later, right? But they should make it honestly, they should make it 600 to get married and then the same
Right.
600 to get
Who's gonna
divorced.
really get married to
But
pay all
if
that money?
but if you're gonna get married, at least now you're taking the time to think about is this who I want to marry? You know what I'm saying? It's not no quick jump to Vegas. Hey,
Yeah.
let's get married. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but going, well, that's true because people do it all the time. Be like, oh, like the famous people, an hour
Yeah.
later got divorced. But putting into perspective the cash part, I know you said it's an investment, but how would you lay that out in helping someone?
Well, the thing is, like I said, you're investing in your marriage, right?
But what if they're like, I can't afford it?
Well, I'm pretty sure there is other resources that you can do to actually help your marriage as far as counseling in that aspect.
Mhm.
Like maybe join, you don't have to start off with a therapist, but maybe start off with just a small marriage group. Maybe there's some marriage groups in your local community, in your local church,
I
or,
think
you know,
budgeting.
yeah. Yeah, you can budget too, but also you can start off with some of those things. Those don't cost nothing. Like
Mhm.
our church, we provide a marriage community that you know you can go discuss topics with other married couples, and you start to realize that you're not the only one who got problems in your marriage, and you realize
Oh,
that
excuse me.
your marriage is not bad as some, and then you realize your marriage is
Right.
bad as some, and
And it's
honestly,
normal.
and it's normal. And then you know, I think that community also is more of a closed door community between you and the other marriages that you know what is ever said there is talked about and left there, but it gives you the opportunity to also discuss your differences.
Right. So other sources, I think a big deal would be budgeting. Because I do believe, us as Americans, we do have a big stigma on a lot of things that we put money that we don't even realize. You
Correct.
know, I know there's been research that shows the average American goes to eat out more than eating in the home,
Right.
more than cooking. You know, the average American might, especially here in Atlanta, the weekends, you know, the events, the parties, the festivals, there's so many things that you can get to the point and say, you know what, my marriage is first. I need to put some of these events or extra hobbies that might be costing more and put it towards the marriage. You know, maybe you like to do artwork, maybe you like to, you know, just whatever. I'm not saying stop what you like, but maybe you both have to come as one, and both of you should say, well, listen, instead of spending you know, 300 a month on, you know, your cards collection or going to the bar or bowling or whatever you like to do. And me spend, instead of spending the one something or two something, maybe with the hair and nails for that month or whatever, for example, maybe come as one and say, let's really work on focus on budgeting how we both can go. Because if it's, you know, 200 an hour, that's pricey.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to do at least twice a month, that's already $400. You know, so you want to really figure something out, really budget, really get it going. What's something else what did you?
And then another thing, as far as like, you know, when you go to a therapist, right? I'm pretty sure, you know,
You
your
can work out
therapist,
payments.
you can work out payments, but do you give the marriage, or would you give the marriage certain type of exercises to do?
Homework.
All right, so they give you exercise, they give you homework.
Mhm.
So these are building block foundations that help your marriage and growth right there, you know, to actually, that was him. So to give him, I mean, to give you guys,
Trying to tell me to keep rocking.
to give you guys a system to start working and learning about, you know, each other and growing as a couple. And the thing is with these exercise, right? You know, I know this happens to a lot of people, but you kind of get busy with just life, right? So don't make these exercises like, oh, we got to do it right before we go see the next counseling session. And you're like on the way to the counseling session doing the exercise, right?
We used to do that. Remember in the marriage thing?
Yeah.
And I used to be like, babe, can we get a day that we do this? Because I'm not doing it every time right before. Remember?
Yeah, we used to rush and fill out our forms right before. And then so then she started picking out a day that we actually do the exercise, and we sit down for that hour and we like, all right, let's go over our worksheets, let's go over our reading, whatever we're supposed to do, whatever our building block was to help us grow in our marriage. And that created some type of intimate time that we got to learn about each other. We got to understand and pick each other's brain as far as what was going on.
Oops, it's fun, ain't it?
As far as what was going on in our marriage, right? Stop.
Fixing it, dude.
Yeah, that's all I got.
No,
You
it's
always
a
do
it's a
that.
little
No,
less juicy.
no, it's okay.
Let me see.
No, watch out.
Let me look at it.
So no, you're good.
So what about I have one. What about the big stigma that certain cultures or certain maybe men, from what I've heard, don't believe in counseling, don't believe in therapy. Like, oh, I'm not like and I'm saying this out of firsthand knowing, because like I said, I've done marriage counseling with other individuals. I've done the coaching, the therapy, and I've had so many cases where the wife will come alone because the husband doesn't believe in therapy, doesn't want to come to therapy, says that they're being in their business. He don't want nobody in their business and all these other things. And then it also is certain cultures, you know, think it's like not good. So what do you think about that? Especially because you were one of them.
Well, I think it's
Can we elaborate on it? Can we elaborate on you being one of them? Like,
Yeah.
let's speak some
well,
transparency.
Well, I think at first, you know, you think about one, like you said, somebody being in your business. And going to, you know, African American Black people culture, you know, we kind of keep stuff in-house, especially with our relationship, you know what I mean? And with our
Everything.
family, you know, with your immediate family, your kids and your husband and your wife, that kind of whatever really goes on kind of stay in-house, right? And we deal with it within the house, you know. And that's the thing that's been going on for generations, you know.
Which needs to be cut.
Right. And even when like even the infidelity that happened with like back in the day, it wasn't even talked about, you know what I mean? So I think that's something that kind of carried on into different to the new
But
generation.
where does that come from? Like, where does it come from? The that's not gonna work. Or I know a good one. My mom said this a couple times when I first started my career. She'll be like, "Oh, how the crazy people doing?" And I'm like, "Ma'am, they're not crazy people.
Yeah, that's another stigma too, that a stereotype that just because you go to therapy or you got a counselor that
You
you're
crazy.
crazy. You're not crazy. You're actually sane.
You're
'Cause-
crazy in love.
No,
period.
no, you're actually sane because you recognize that there's a problem. Crazy is not recognizing there's a problem
And you know what? And it doesn't have to necessarily be there's a problem.
or a
And
situation.
like I get real, sentimental on some of these comments because as a therapist, when certain people say certain things, like even Brandon, he'll be like, "Oh," I'm like, "No, that's not how you say it. Like, it's not like, oh, well, because you have a problem, you're going to therapy. Well, it's not a problem. We have certain scenarios that as a family or as a unit, we're trying to work out. And trust me, if you talk to somebody that is not into therapy in this way, they might be more open to it compared to, well, since you got a problem and y'all want to be all crazy all the time and have everybody in your business, of course they're not going to want to go to therapy. But if you're talking to them in a different way of, speak to somebody that's a mediator, speak to somebody that doesn't know you guys, that won't take Brandon's side or my side.
Well,
Or
I think that's the way, like, if you're gonna introduce therapy to your spouse, that's the way you should introduce it. As like, hey, I feel that I can't get my point across when I'm talking to you. You can't get your point across when you're talking to me. We're kind of arguing, going back and forth. You think your way is right. I think my way is right. Why don't we bring somebody that'll look at both aspects and put it together? Because we can't do it right now as a couple, and we're not coming to a mutual agreement on
that's a nice way of saying it, because listen, this shit ain't working out. We need to go talk to the counselor. What can we call Miss Lisa today? Thank you.
Yes.
You're not listening to me, Brother Barker. We need to call her 1-800 I need Miss Lisa for the day.
Right.
And she knows. I text her real quick, like, oh, can we set an appointment like today?
Yeah.
Which we have to reschedule. We didn't get to go because the weather today. We were supposed to go. So even us, we keep it active. We don't go continuously every week like we used to, because so much going on. And yes, I do believe in minimizing the sessions as you go into your journey and progress.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, if that, when you first get started, of course, every week, if you can, every week for a couple months, talking about it. And if you can't every week because of money, maybe bi-weekly, getting it in. And then maybe I would even say even like 6 months, then you start slimming it down.
I don't even think 6 months because, like I told you,
slimming it down.
I don't even think that's slimming down. Honestly, I think you should slim it down after you came across some hurdles, because you should or you will have some hurdles or some hiccups in your marriage, and you was able to resolve them in a way. And then I think once you figure out the way you resolve them, because you're gonna have some disagreements in your marriage, that's what happens. But it's the way you handle the disagreement. If you handle the disagreement where you got to yelling and stuff, it was no progress in the therapy or the counseling session.
There should be boundaries, because even if you do it one time, doesn't mean, oh, we're gonna scale back on the therapy because I walked away once.
Yeah.
But the second time I might not walk away.
Or
I need to be
if you knew where the boundary was and you said, okay, I went too far, and you recognize it, and now you're able to, discuss it or leave the situation alone and come back to it. And, and you gotta, what the whole thing is, when you start growing, that's when you should start slimming it down. And your next counseling session should be updates.
Now, what if there's that couple, because I'm gonna throw it out there with all type of couples. What if there's that marriage that you've been together, I don't know, let's say, like I see my cousin's on, right? She's been together 18 years, married. I have a couple of friends that have been married 20 years, 25, 30, 35. What about those a little bit more seasoned marriages that never have done counseling? Because, it wasn't really a thing back then. And people, like I said, because of the stigma. What about those marriages that they feel like we haven't done counseling this whole time? Why now? Or things are gray, or things are peaches and cream. Why? Like, do you still recommend it?
I-
So that's why I put, is counseling good or not? Because do you still recommend it?
I still would recommend it as well, because as you grow older and seasoned and stuff like that, it's still gonna be different stuff that you're gonna have to deal with. Like,
Mhm.
it might be some health issues that that you're getting frustrated with,
The
or something
sexual
like
intimacy,
yeah.
the connection.
Yeah, and I think something might just play a part in that. So I feel that even if you're seasoned, it's still something you can always learn, right?
Right.
It's nothing like you said, we always talk about your journey with your wife or your husband is to continue to keep learning them, right? And not saying if you're learning, just because you're learning them, don't mean you understand them.
And it doesn't mean, it doesn't also have to mean that because you decide, oh, let's go to a therapist or let's go to a family counselor, it doesn't mean that, oh, now your marriage after 20 years is on the rocks, or
Yeah,
now your marriage is falling apart and it's horrible.
correct.
No, it can be fine. And you just want to, maybe there's something from the past that you maybe never really got into
Or got to address.
to address, or maybe, especially because seasoned marriages, after a while, I've heard a couple wives mention to me that are seasoned, they'll just be like, girl, I don't even say nothing to him no more.
Yeah.
I don't even bother
or
with that.
laugh
I don't
it
even
off.
this. And realistically, that's not always the healthiest either, because now you're holding so much inside. Now
Yeah.
you might have those one or two attitudes you might not think is serious, but longevity wise, you're eventually gonna have that
Or in the
resentment.
back of the mind, or you still holding a grudge and you're not addressing it, or you playing that
It could be
grudge
simple. It could be like,
yeah.
it could be in your own mind. Like, I'm not giving him none tonight because he was just a jerk.
But again, like we talked about the other day when we talked about far as being married those 20 years, right? You've been married for 20 years ever since the kids was born, right? But now the kids are graduating and they're going off to college and things are not seeming like now you don't know what to do.
That's
It's an
good.
empty
That's
nest.
good.
Yes, you need a counselor right now. Now,
Mhm.
look, you're an empty nester. You didn't plan to be an empty nester. You didn't have no plan. So now what we gonna do? We're looking at
Yep.
each other like we don't know. Maybe that counselor or that therapist can give us some things to look forward to now that our
Mhm.
kids are grown and going off to college. They can give us some ideas,
Yeah,
spark some interest
I'm
in.
glad, you mentioned that, because remember when we talked about that, we talked about how a lot of people I've seen are divorcing after 20 something years with the kids in college. Now, my thing is, and I wonder, I haven't asked them because I haven't been in their business like that, but I wonder if you were to ask these people that divorced when this happened, if they considered therapy. Because I promise you, I guarantee you, I don't even have to go into it. I guarantee, because I did ask one. I guarantee you that 9 out of 10 times, the wife, no offense to the men, are probably gonna say he did not want to go to counseling. He doesn't believe in it. He didn't think we needed it. And just I guarantee you, like, these marriages are not even doing like we said when we talked about it. Are you really exhausting all your sources before you just sign on the dotted line?
Well, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. A lot of people want to go to council once the fire that got to burn and it's getting cooked and the
If
flames,
they even go,
if they go. Like now the heat is on and now we
you
want to
need
go to
somebody trying
council.
to burn it down.
But instead of
With
when
water.
you see that flame is starting to crack up a little bit, or it's just a start, now that's when you should be really trying to, go into that counseling session. Don't wait till the fire's already lit and now you're like,
What if the husband, or what if one of the spouse don't want to go?
that's what I'm saying. You gotta work your way into going. And like I said, we always talked about this. If your spouse don't want to go, it's okay for you to go alone initially, and those are things where when you start working on yourself, you know what I mean, and start improving yourself. And if that spouse see that and see that growth in you and see how you handle in situations compared to how you used to handle situations, and that's the thing. Both of you are married. You know what makes each other tick. You know what buttons to press, right? And you know what buttons to press to pull them out of character. That's the thing, right? So are you pressing those buttons to pull them out of character just to show to see if they really love you or something? Like That's the crazy part right there, right? It should be like, you know what? I don't even want to make him that mad. You know what I'm saying?
No, but I'd be asking you about that. Brandon, remember I asked you the other day? I was like, babe, you know that bothers me. Why do you do it? And didn't you say like, well, I just wanted to see her? What did you say a while ago?
I think I did that recently.
Yeah, you did, because I was like, babe, that's like irritating me. Like, why are you doing something like that?
Yeah, well, I see the growth because it didn't get to you, so whatever. I don't know.
You don't remember?
I
I
don't,
remember. I don't
but I
remember what
don't,
it was, but I remember saying
I
it.
don't
Like,
think
babe,
it
why
was,
do you do that? That's
but I
annoying
don't think it was that serious like that.
to you.
Maybe not to me, but
Okay.
but
Remember, husbands, it's not just your feelings, it's your partner and your wife's feelings as well. So he might not thought it was a big deal. I did.
that's why she remembers it, right?
Exactly. That's no bueno. And this is something we would have talked about in Miss Lisa if we would have went today. I bet you that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back to the point. So the person not going, I remember, which I wanted you to say to talk about this. I remember when we started going. Brandon didn't want to. He didn't believe it. He didn't like it. He was like, I'm not doing it. Somebody in my business. He did the whole black man stigma conversation.
No, I didn't say I used to go and I used to.
No, let's talk about the beginning.
Yeah, the first time I didn't want to go.
He didn't. But what did I say? I said to him, I said, in order for this to work, we need to go to this counseling because it's not going to work.
Well, yeah.
And you told me I had to go too because I was too crazy.
Yeah, she had to go. I wasn't gonna go.
So what? See, so do y'all hear this? So he thought I was too crazy. So he's like, I needed to go. But when I'm telling him to go, he was like, no, I'm good. Like, no, you're not. Like you're part of the crazy too.
She had to address some issues, right?
Right. So I was like, if this not gonna
But I
happen,
would
then we're just not gonna be
always
there.
have a more calm attitude than she always has.
You got stop. Y'all know
that you
the quiet
spicy.
one, as soon as it sparks, is worse than the spicy one.
Listen,
Oh.
Linda. No.
Okay, Brother Barker.
More calm.
Until you get sparked. Then the beast leaves.
But it takes a lot to get sparked.
That's worse than the spiciness.
Yeah,
Because
but-
y'all see my spicy boom, 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 boom. Be calm. And then for him to unleash the beast, the whole house shakes. It's like, uh-oh,
But see,
daddy's mad.
Yeah, because I gave him opportunities, right?
Anyways,
But-
on to the next.
Yeah, so when I did initially go to the counseling session, this is real life right here. So when I initially went to the counseling session, right, I was quiet.
Mm.
And the therapist was like, so you don't have anything to say? And I'm like, nope. Like, okay. All right. So
She had to finally be like, yo,
So,
we need a
you know,
one-on-one, sir.
So honestly, Jennifer would speak the whole hour and I just sit there and stuff. And so I wouldn't say nothing, right? I would just keep quiet and stuff. And so then eventually as we kept going and
She wanted to see you one-on-one because you wasn't
yeah,
talking.
she wanted to see
She wanted to break the ice because she was like, something's wrong with this dude.
yeah.
Like, I don't know nothing about him. What's really going on?
So she saw me one-on-one, we talked or whatever. And so
And it's okay to cry, man.
Yeah, I don't think I cried though.
It's okay if you did though.
No, I don't think I did that.
But you did. Yes, you did. It's okay. It's okay
I
though.
don't think I did.
Can we
but-
just say that it's okay?
It's okay, but I don't think I did. But
You
anyway,
did.
so when we went after that, right, she would go in, and this is what I like. Because she want to go tell her spill. She ready to get there. She ready to get to the council, tell her the whole what everything went on. But the fact that we had an hour, she only got half the time to speak what she had to see. And after that, she had to be quiet, right? So I would let her say her spiel or whatever she got to say, and then I'd be like, "All right." And she'd be like, "So how did it happen on your end, Brandon?" And I would go ahead and say what I say, but she would not let me finish what I wanted to say. My counselor
Because
had
it
to
was
be
all
like,
lies.
my counselor had to be like, Jennifer, you already had the floor now. It's his turn. And I'll be like, okay.
And that's when I found out she liked him more than me.
Nah, that's not true.
And I still think she does. But anyways,
No, that's not
she's
true.
always taking your side.
She's not.
Still let me know too. And she'll let him know too. But she's 9 out of 10 times taking B side.
Cause I don't be tripping like that. I don't.
Anyways, moving forward, what else with therapy? Because we got like 2 minutes.
So, but like I said, I think therapy is a good.
Is it helpful?
It's a helpful.
No, is it?
Yes, very helpful, and I think that every marriage should have some type of counseling session or therapy. And like I said, it ain't saying that y'all have a problem in your marriage or anything, but it's also just to keep you
No, it
guys.
shouldn't. It maybe can help the marriage.
Yeah, I'm saying that. But it's also keeping you guys in rhythm and in flow. Not saying that you need somebody to keep you in rhythm and flow, but it's some stuff that you might not disclose to your spouse and
Uncomfortable.
or feel comfortable on, letting them know what's going on with you. And this is a way you can break like, some ice and some barriers and some walls and be like, hey, I've been scared to tell you about this because I don't know how you're gonna respond. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
it don't have to be like infidelity. It could be like, you got a bad diagnosis from the doctor, right? And you don't want to scare them because at the house, it's like, if I tell you at the house, it's like, oh man, why you didn't tell me this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? If I tell you at the counseling session, then the counselor's or the therapist's gonna protect me a little bit. She's like, look, he didn't want to tell you this because let's ask, how's he feeling? Why did he want to tell you this?
Mhm.
At home, it's not gonna be like, how did you feel? It's gonna be like, yo, why you ain't telling me this? You should have been told me.
Right. So
We are-
minimizing the yelling, the
you
arguments.
should have went to the doctor and got this handled, or you should have, you know what I'm saying? It's not all these questions, and now you got a frustrated person who is just trying to tell you what's going on with their health issue or something.
Form of communication is better.
Yeah, or something,
The openness.
and that's what I'm saying, like doing these type of exercises, and that's what it is. It's exercises that you have when you go to these therapy counseling to help you grow in your marriage. I think it's a plus. I think it's a win situation. Honestly, I think they should give you one the day after you get married. Like, yo, this is your life counselor right here. Right?
That's a good idea.
Like, this is your life counselor. And when you have kids, this will be your family counselor as well. So
Right.
you know what I mean? But I think they should really put that as
I'm
like
really grateful though. I'm really grateful because I remember I think I went to 2 therapists, remember?
mhm.
And I was like, no, I'm not feeling the other one. Remember? Over there for Cousin Hell? I
Yeah,
don't think you ever went.
I never went.
But I'm glad I found who we've been with this whole time. She's definitely been like a big blessing.
She's like, honestly, she's been since, like I said, Francisco. So she's like, I guess, in a sense, she's done turned into like family. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like she know us, she know how we act, how we respond, and
Right.
that's where your counselor can really, or your therapist can really do their best work when they really know.
Because it
who
takes time too.
Yeah, when they really know who you are and truly are, or when you can call them and make a phone call, and sometimes you don't even have to show up at the office.
Right.
And sometimes it might not always be a paid session. They're like, look, you going through something, come in. Look, I'm not even gonna charge you, just come see me. We need to talk. You know what I'm saying? And so you gotta be like that too. So sometimes those sessions, when you establish that relationship with that counselor or therapist, then it's not about the money with them.
Right.
And also now they know who they working with. You know what I mean? You gotta give them the opportunity to understand who they're working with. In 6 months, they don't know who they working with. They working
Right.
with Jekyll and Hyde right
So
now.
you barely know your spouse in 6
Right.
months.
You playing the Jekyll and Hyde game. I don't know who you are one day, and I don't know, now we don't know if you bipolar, if you're not bipolar. I don't know what's going on. I gotta figure this out. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that it takes time to actually realize who you're dealing with and them to actually study for them to get the best work out of
Right.
your therapist.
Which I was gonna say that's good you say that because there's scenarios where, especially with the men not being able to, there's that big thing about not opening up with your spouse.
And
not-
it takes men
not
a long
having-
time to open up.
Yeah,
to
not
that.
having the open communication, not being comfortable, not knowing how to say certain things. You know how you'd be like, well, how should I say this, babe? After you done cursed me out 13 times. And I'm like, well, that's not the best. And then So for men, I think it's a big deal to go through that, and then
Mhm.
even checking out previous traumas. Like, why are you here? What happened that you're this way or that way? And this is how this is affecting your marriage.
Yeah, it could be something from your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So, they'll be able to uncover those things and help your marriage. But I think this was very brought
That's
some
it. It
great
was quick
value.
and informative.
Yeah, we wanted to just go over this because we know that, a lot of couples can use this opportunity to actually discuss this. This is again an icebreaker. I hope you guys got value out of this call. This is
Yes,
an
it
icebreaker
was
for
great.
anybody married who feel like, like, man, I've been wanting to talk to my wife about going to therapy, or I've been wanting to talk to my husband about
Or vice versa. You've told
Yeah.
them and they don't want to go.
yeah, so this is a good conversation. So where they can understand what it's
Yeah.
about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about growth. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's about growth in
And
your
understanding
marriage
your
and
marriage.
understanding your marriage.
Yeah. And the other thing, sorry, babe.
No, go ahead.
What is that? And the other thing is, we also have, which we're working on. So you guys know we launched a book. We launched the marriage book, the marriage ebook, which if you guys got it, put some reviews. Let us know. We haven't heard back from anybody. Let us know, like, yay, nay, hopefully yay, because there's a lot of nuggets. But besides that, another thing that, Brandon and I have been really wanting to work is having these packages together for private coaching, for private, even if it's via Zoom. Like if your spouse and you're like, man, my husband doesn't want to do therapy, my wife doesn't want to do therapy, she don't like it, we don't want to go in. We are open to doing the coaching via Zoom. You guys know I'm a mental health therapist. Brandon also has, we've been working on growing our experience and our services.
With coaching, experiencing coaching, and she's experiencing therapy.
And being able to bring that together, we're actually trying to work, well, we are not trying, we're working out some kind of packages where people can say, hey, let's start with the 6-week course with, marriage coaching 101, and it's private and it's via Zoom, or if you want to meet up, if you're here in Georgia, we could do things like that. So message us if you're interested, or if you know somebody. We want to help, we want to be able to put out these services out there and be able to, just reach all over.
And it's whoever you feel comfortable speaking with. If you feel like, speaking to, a woman about it, then, my wife
It doesn't have to be both of us.
Yeah.
If you're on here and you're like, you know what, Jen, I would love to set up a session with, Brandon and my husband, in the aspect of maybe more communication, maybe more,
together
talking to the wife, or I don't know, whatever, just reach out to us. We have the platform, we have the packages. We're still just working on how to put it out there and how to launch different things. But all this stuff is available. We want to help others. And definitely check out the book. The ebook helps people from there as well. Communication, intimacy. But it's very important.
If you go through our Facebook, the ebook is on our Facebook, it's on our Instagram, IG, the link is there. Also, just click the link and it'll take you directly to there. So we're gonna go ahead and pray out.
You're looking at me. Hey, quick, in and out. It's already 10:47. Thank you, Jesus. Bow your heads. Bow your heads. Thank you, Jesus, for today. Thank you for this call. Thank you for everyone on here. Thank you for those that are watching or getting the replay. That we continue to bless the marriages, empower marriages, encourage marriages, and we're able to speak to others, even the singles, even the engaged, just everyone bringing love and bringing your love, God. Thank you for protecting us, covering us. Continue to fill all these people with your Holy Spirit and guide them, Lord. Bring them together as one in unity, and just being a blessing to others as well as to their families. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all for getting in. Thank y'all for tuning in again. Follow us again on marriage.p.o.r.n. It's pure, open, renew, and navigate, guys. Check the book out again. Thank you again. Y'all have a great night.
Peace. Peace and love. And I told you he was gonna fall asleep again. This is new little crib. He went to sleep there for the night. See ya. I'm playing up in the little boy right next to the bed like that, and I sit over. Be mad.
Silly.
He'll be mad. Wake up with a cramp on his neck.